welcome to episode 7 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm Kit.
And this week we watched the 1986 movie Demons, or Demone, or one of the other 3,000 titles it has. And we have a special guest talking about this awesome movie with us, Shayne Mathis from the Full Metal Hipster Podcast.
What's up, dudes?
and Shayne...
We need to change our intro every week.
I don't know why I did that. It seemed like it would be funny.
Shayne will now be leaving the podcast. Yeah, this movie is awesome. My only history with this is the second time I've ever actually watched it. The first time I watched it was that Joe Bob Briggs Last Drive-In.
Oh, yeah.
Which I wanted to revisit, and I just never got time to.
Yeah, Joe Bob adds, 50 minutes to the runtime.
Well, he breaks down the, insane, versions of this movie, and how in Germany this one got released as the sequel to the second one. So technically the second, Demons 2 was the first one in Germany, and then Demons is the sequel, which makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean the connection between 1 and 2 is pretty tenuous anyway, and also there's 7 or 8 official and unofficial sequels to Demons.
Yeah, I remember him breaking it down, and it just sounded like way more than I felt like looking into.
It was a whole 7-minute recap. It's nuts.
Yeah, there's 2 official Demons sequels and then 5 or 6 unofficial ones.
Seems like that is like Zombie as well. Had the same thing.
Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. All those Italian movies are just we're gonna take a script and slap an established property on it and call it a sequel.
I wanna get to the point where eventually every Italian movie is just a sequel to every Italian movie that came before it.
I'm just thinking how we could make money making just throwing Saw 9 on just some generic script and having just having the Princess Bride dude show up in it and be see, it's a sequel.
I mean, isn't that kind of already what's happening with the Saw movies?
I mean, that's pretty much, yeah, kind of. They just have one background character from the movie before it take over as the lead of the next one.
Look, everyone, Tobin Bell's on the poster. That's it.
Pretty much the only tie through the whole thing. Why the fuck are we talking about Saw again? It seems like every time we have
we're talking about Saw way too much.
Yeah. I feel like we need to just do all of those movies and just get them out of the way and then never talk about them again.
Let's just do one super special 7-hour-long episode where every Saw movie and discuss each one in depth.
Do a 9-hour audio commentary for all of them.
Or do a Facebook live stream, or a YouTube live stream where you just watch every Saw movie back to back and just provide commentary.
I'd say just do Instagram live and see how long that stays up.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many of the Saw movies. I think I've seen up to 4 or 5, and after 2, it's all just some people got ground up in a big machine or something. I don't know. I got bored.
Pretty much. I
definitely 6. 6 is the Saw films take on the healthcare industry.
Oh yeah.
Nice. It's good to stay topical like that. That's what keeps people coming to the theater.
That's what I want out of my torture porn film.
I own the first 7 because I found them all used for $1.50 or $2 or some shit, and I was just well, fuck it, I'm just gonna buy them. And
yeah, I mean,
I think I've watched them all. I've watched the first one a handful of times because the first one is legitimately good, and the rest of them I've maybe watched once, maybe twice. And then I recently watched that Jigsaw where they rebooted it, or we're just oh, we're done, except 2 years from now we're going to release another sequel, and it's terrible.
That seems right.
It's so bad. I would I would suggest watching the first ones just because they're like goofy and like even if it's just for like the dumbass twist at the end of every single one of them. But
they're really committed to that.
Jigsaw is absolutely terrible and makes no sense, like whatsoever.
So we'll probably do it eventually.
Oh yeah, it's
that's going to require me to finish that movie, and I don't think I have that.
I texted you about it when I was watching it. And you were like, "Yeah, I made it to like 20
I made it
minutes
like,
in," and I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah, you don't need to finish it." All right, so let's go ahead and jump into this movie. This will be interesting to talk about because for the most part, there is zero plot to this whatsoever.
Yeah, it's an Italian movie.
It rules.
Oh, it's awesome! Like, this movie's so good, but like. Pretty much all you really talk about is like people getting attacked and how every character is the worst. So I think I posted this on Twitter a couple weeks ago. I did just like a generic ranking of my favorite scores or whatever from movies, and Demons is actually my favorite. Like I love the score to this movie. When I saw Goblin at Maryland Death Fest, they played like the main theme, and I lost my fucking mind.
Yeah, because it's not Goblin. It's like Claudio Simonetti, right?
Yeah, it's
like,
just him. Which is weird because like in the movie, it's just like everything says it's just he did it, but like if you buy it, it's released under Goblin.
Yeah, it's it's good. It's super corny. Like I was watching it last weekend to kind of brush up on it because it had been a bit since I watched it all the way through, and my girlfriend was like, "What kind of music is this?"
It's so good. Like that. Like I have that like main theme stuck in my head like all the time.
That like
it's so good.
Yeah, but then it gets to like that middle part where it's just like all synth, and I fucking love it so much.
Yeah, I mean, I unironically like Goblin and Claudio Simonetti and all those like knockoff bands.
Like seeing Goblin live was just like, I think the only thing that would top it would be maybe seeing John Carpenter.
Oh yeah, I saw John Carpenter live a few years ago. It was awesome.
Yeah, I feel like that's not going to happen. I don't see him coming to Ohio anytime soon. So
yeah, fair point.
I don't blame him. So this movie kind of lays a very tangential groundwork of this girl riding the subway and being stalked by a metal mask wearing dude that is giving out tickets to a movie screening.
Yeah.
As
like
one does.
You think it's going to be like a rave or something, and he's like, "Would you like to come to my movie?"
Yeah, and like all I can think about at this point is just that dude looks like he should be in the band Ghost.
That guy is Michel Soavi, or I don't know if that's how you pronounce his name, but I don't know. He directed. Have you ever seen Cemetery Man?
Yeah, it's been a long time, but
yeah, he directed that. He directed the the second sequel to Demons called The Church. And he directed Cemetery Man. He's in the movie that they're watching too. He's, I think, the guy that gets turned into a demon and kills everybody.
Oh yeah. I should say this movie because usually we'll go through like some of the stars and like whatever it's, but I don't know how to pronounce like half the people's names, so I just kind of left it because it's pretty much all Italian actors. But it's the director was Lamberto Bava, and then he helped write it, and I think most people are kind of aware of it just to the tie of Dario Argento being like a writer on it as well.
Yeah, and Lamberto Bava is Mario Bava's son too. I think Demons is the first movie he actually directed, but before that he was the assistant director on like all of his dad's earlier movies. Like he worked on Danger Diabolik, Baron Blood, Planet of the Vampires, Kill Baby Kill, and he worked on, it's not a Mario Bava movie, but he worked on Cannibal Holocaust too.
Oh yeah.
Just some fun facts.
I don't know much about him. Like I think this is the only movie I've actually seen of his.
Yeah, I mean, It's all he does. He hasn't made a movie for a real long time, but it's all that kind of generic Italian horror movie stuff. Although he did make this movie called Blast Fighter, which sounds like it's going to be like a futuristic sci-fi movie, but it's actually it's like a Vietnam vet that goes crazy and like kills a bunch of people with a shotgun or something.
So it's like Rambo 2. Italian Rambo 2.
Yeah, but it's probably like way more janky than any of the Rambo movies.
Like I was a big fan of Monster Shark. other films.
I had like kind of just scrolled through his filmography on IMDb, and it was just a shit ton of TV movies.
Yeah. He made a whole bunch of really crappy TV movies, and I think some stuff that popped up on like Cinemax After Dark at some point.
Oh yeah.
Him and Jim Wynorski should co-direct a film.
Yeah, or like Joe D'Amato.
Yeah. So, after you basically get this intro of this girl getting the ticket and meeting her friend, you kind of cut to everybody showing up at the movie theater, which apparently, if you play, I think it's the first Silent Hill, this movie theater is like in like one of the buildings. I guess
really?
It's like shows up in Silent Hill. It's either the video game or the movie. I didn't get that far into my research, but I just saw that it's in Silent Hill.
Yeah, I played the shit out of the first Silent Hill game when it came out, but that was like, 20 years ago?
Yeah. Like, I think it just shows like the Metropole or whatever, the sign.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool. My first real note for this movie was that the ADR is bonkers. Like
oh yeah.
Especially when it's like comes to I think the character's name is Tony the pimp.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and like it's amazing. This is my favorite part of the movie is anytime that dude's on screen just talking, because it just doesn't match whatsoever.
Yeah, well, that's a thing with Italian movies, because if you watch spaghetti westerns or really any kind of Italian movie from the 70s or 80s, there's really bad dubbing because they used international actors. So they would have English-speaking actors and actors that spoke Spanish or spoke Italian, and they're all like speaking their lines, but they can't understand each other, and they would just dub voices over top of it. That's why it looks like some people are speaking English, and then like the pimp guy is clearly not.
Yeah, like that was the thing that I noticed, is that like most of the people, like it all syncs up, but it just kind of doesn't look like what I guess their voice would be.
Yeah, it doesn't match.
And it's all just like a lot of the stuff in this movie is like all the delivery seems like real muted for like what's going on, except for when people are just screaming.
Yeah.
Everyone's handling the situation really well.
It's
not a big deal. It's just like Tuesday at the theater.
The one dude, I think his name's Ken, when he's like asking his friend to kill him, and like all of his delivery is terrible.
Yeah, that's the guy that looks like the Karate Kid, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Like one of the douchebags with like the sweater tied around his neck at the beginning.
Yeah, the first time those guys are introduced, it's awesome because they're just like super preppy looking. I totally forgot. Like when they first go into the theater, like the first note I have is about the dirt bike with like the samurai sword that's there for no apparent reason.
Yeah, my second note after the ADR was, look at these chuds fawning over this dirt bike.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame them. If I walked into a movie theater and there's like a sweet dirt bike with like a samurai sword, like a katana on it, I mean, I'd be like, this is cool too. But it's funny that it's only there to pay off that last sequence at the end of the movie. It doesn't serve any purpose.
Like that dirt bike is like, it doesn't even look cool. Like, and those dudes are just like losing their fucking minds to like how cool this dirt bike looks. And I'm like, you do see the guy, or like the like samurai sitting on top of it, right?
Yeah. There's like a samurai. It's samurai armor with that it's holding the mask and that katana. It just doesn't make any sense.
Like I would be very curious to kind of dig deeper into like how this movie was made, because like I said, there's like no plot, but it's like there's stuff that just kind of is set up at the beginning that pays off, and I just want to I want to know how they kind of came to this idea of like, okay, we're gonna put this dirt bike in here at the beginning because this is going to show up later, and like this, like, I wonder if like this story with like the mask is some kind of weird, maybe like Italian like folk tale myth type thing.
Yeah, and that's kind of a thing I've noticed with Italian horror movies. So with like Dario Argento too and Lucio Fulci, their movies, they don't really have much of a plot, but they kind of tease these like bigger worlds that exist outside of the movie, but it never goes anywhere. Like Dario Argento has the like Suspiria and Inferno, like the Mother's films, and they're just kind of haphazardly strung together. Like there's a weird mythology to it, but he doesn't do anything with it really.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of Argento stuff, like I love almost all of it that I've seen, but it's also kind of like incomprehensible, just like trying to follow anything that's going on, because it seems like it's a lot of scenes just attached to scenes that sort of like meet up at something in the end, but they all look like beautiful, at least for like, that time period.
Yeah, his movies, they look really well, or look really cool, and you can kind of see in Demons, you can see some of that influence with with blues and reds and primary colors and stuff.
Like there's a lot of, which we're going to get into the fucking layout of this movie theater, because it just
it makes no sense.
Melts my fucking brain. But like a lot of those like shots from just like the hallways with like the blue light, and then you see like some of these like possessed people coming up with their eyes glowing, are all like really well done.
Yeah, I love the shot where there's a ramp for some reason and it's backlit and the demons come up over it. Yeah, I love that shot. There's a shot like that in The Lost Boys too.
Yeah. I haven't watched that movie in a long time either. I need to watch that.
Oh, it's so good. Soon. Lost Boys rules.
It's one of those movies that like I always see everybody talking about, and I'm just like, I should watch that. And then I'm just like, well, I'm just going to watch this garbage from Amazon Prime that I'm going to be mad about.
Yeah, Amazon Prime is really it's really a treasure trove of shit. If you want to watch a garbage movie of any genre, then Amazon Prime is what you should be subscribing to.
If it aired on the Sci-Fi Channel from like mid-90s to today, it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they also have like, I can't think of the film company now, but they're like, it's this film company that anytime like a big movie's coming out, like Transformers, they'll release like Transmorphers. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like there's a shit ton of horror movies that are like that, where there was like, as The Nun was coming out, there's one on there now just called Nun that has a nun that looks exactly the same as the one from The Nun. And
just like shittily photoshopped.
Yeah, and I know it's garbage, but I'm going to end up watching it instead of being like, hey, I should watch like The Thing because I like this movie. No, I'm going to watch like
None.
some movie about like zombie dinosaurs.
Yeah, it's that production company is called The Asylum. I know somebody that worked on one of their movies. I forget which one it was, but like when that movie Pacific Rim came out, they released a ripoff called Atlantic Rim. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
What a job! What a job to have.
I just want
to come up with the knockoffs.
Yeah, just come up with the titles would be enough for me. So basically, you just get the essential plot of this movie is just like a shit ton of random people come to this free screening of this movie that you end up seeing basically the whole movie, because a good portion of this is just watching people watch a movie.
Yeah, that's like all the first part of the movie is.
Yeah, like the first like 20-25 minutes after you get everybody to the theater is just like people reacting to what they're seeing on this screen, and like just people delivering lines that I guess are supposed to be like character building. Like you're getting introduced to like the blind dude.
Oh yeah, the blind dude. The blind dude and his, I guess, daughter or whatever.
On my second watch, I was like, every time I'm just like, is that not like, I assume it's supposed to be his wife, and then he says something about like, it's his little girl.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be his daughter.
That's so weird.
Yeah, I don't know. And then, I think it's the second time they're introduced, the second time it cuts to them in the audience, that guy just walks up and starts making out with her.
Which is like, I would assume that dude's hearing would be well enough to like...
Yeah, he could hear that.
Well, I mean, yeah, he should be able to hear it, but I guess like with the movie going on, like I guess I could cut it some slack, but still.
Yeah, because they were going at it too. He was like had his hand up, way up her dress.
Like, so you meet him, and you meet Tony the Pimp, which is
he's the best character.
Far and away.
Our racist part of the podcast that we have to seem to have every episode.
Yeah.
That's just who we are now.
Yeah, but he is legitimately the best part of the movie.
Did you notice he was always yelling at the prostitutes with him, but there was one, I laugh every time because they're sitting down and one of the hookers makes some joke. She's like, hey Tony, you want some popcorn? And he screams. He's like, shut up, you dumb bitch.
One of my notes was just like, how is nobody angry about this dude just like yelling throughout this movie?
Yeah, I know.
I would just watch another movie of just that character.
Yeah, he's in the sequel. He's in Demons too. He's a bodybuilder. He's not the same character, but that guy is in it.
He rules. And then you follow kind of like the main character of this movie, I would say, I guess, is Cheryl, who you see walking through the subway station. And then I think the dude is named George.
Yeah, the main guy is George.
Kit and I never know anybody's names or write anybody's names down, and we'll get like 3/4 through this and be like, oh yeah, this was Lisa.
That was Dave.
Yeah.
Fuck.
But I specifically remember Cheryl, and then I swear that dude's name was George, who is...
I think it was Judge Reinhold.
Yeah. The best.
Well, that other guy, there's another guy that looks like Ryan Felipe, whatever that guy's name is.
Yeah. Fuck, what was his name?
He looks...
Good.
Oh, I was just going to say, he looks sort of like Ryan Felipe, and he's got really heavy pancake makeup on.
Yeah. I guess really the only characters you need to know is like Cheryl, George, Cheryl's friend, whose name I don't remember, and then George's friend Ken, because they're pretty much kind of who you follow, and then you have just like other generic people like Tony doesn't make it super long. The blind guy doesn't make it long. Like, pretty much everybody just starts getting picked off pretty quickly until you're down to, like, just them.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I like Demons, is because it starts immediately. I think there's 10 minutes of setup before the first woman turns into a demon.
Yeah, because I would say pretty much about like 10 minutes after like the opening credits. Like, once you actually get everybody to the movie theater, it's like you get, however many minutes of watching people watch this movie, and then like she starts kind of turning, and then shit just goes like south pretty quickly. And it's like pretty much like I would say the whole movie was pretty much just watchable for like how goofy it is, but also like the effects are equally terrible yet awesome at the same time.
Yeah, the practical effects, they're very Evil Dead, like first Evil Dead movie, where it's just gross and shit is pulsating and there's blood and vomit and pus everywhere.
Yeah,
there's some really good goo effects.
When when the second prostitute like starts transforming and her like teeth start pushing out.
Yeah, that's rough.
Fucks me up. That and her nails. Like
yeah,
they both like looks really good, but also like cheesy at the same time. I love it.
Yeah, or even when the first woman to turn, and I guess we should set that up where she pricks her face on this mask on the dirt bike display, and it's like a pretty bad cut. But it's really weird because they're watching the movie and then a character on screen the same thing happens to, and then her face starts like pulsating, and she, I think at that point, runs to the restroom and just gets like a giant carbuncle on her face, and it just like blows up everywhere.
Yeah, like apparently the way you become a demon is you just get this giant like boil that just pops and spews pus, like blue-green pus everywhere, and then you just are a demon.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet. The transformation is it's a sort of a crappier version of the American Werewolf in London transformation, but it still looks awesome.
So one of my favorite line of this entire movie comes from the movie inside the movie, which is just essentially a bunch of kids walking around like a graveyard, I guess.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Nostradamus' tomb.
Yeah, and so somebody in it says, Nostradamus sounds like a rap group.
Yeah, I wrote that down too.
This is my absolute favorite line of this movie.
Or like when they first introduce the movie and it's just the guys on dirt bikes with like a ghetto blaster blasting Motley Crue, and they're just like tearing ass around Nostradamus' tomb.
It blows my mind, the bands that are part of this movie. Like Motley Crue and Billy Idol and Scorpions.
Yeah, Rick Springfield.
Yeah, I think Go West is part of it too. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, Go West well, I guess we haven't gotten there yet, but it's funny because when they introduce the badass punk rocker guys, they're listening to Go West.
Yeah. The coke heads are the worst. So basically, these two prostitutes kind of transform into demons and start attacking people. Shit's going haywire. Everyone's running around this movie theater that has hallways and staircases and like back rooms, and it just makes absolutely no sense. It's just like a fucking maze. Yeah,
the layout for the movie theater is just nonsense.
Like people will run upstairs and then like somehow they're still downstairs. Like it just, none of it makes any sense to me.
It's an Escher designed movie theater.
Yeah, like,
yeah.
I gotta assume it's all shot in one place, so somewhere in wherever this was filmed has to kind of have a building that is somewhat set
just
up like
fucking
this.
Nonsense.
Yeah, there's scenes where there's just curtains hanging for no reason.
Yeah. Like, oh yeah, because when like the first prostitute is like transformed and like her friend is like running away from her or whatever, and she finds the blind dude's daughter making out with whoever, it's just like a room of curtains.
Yeah, and then isn't that where she strangles them with the cord? But she doesn't really strangle them; she just like smushes their faces together, and then they like die.
Which seems absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
Like, that just seems extremely painful. One of my other favorite lines happens as, like, right before all this starts happening, the second, like, prostitute that is turning into a demon is behind the screen and is trying to, like, break free. And someone's like Cheryl or a friend says, "Those screams sound real." And I think Ken says, "It's a Dolby system."
Yeah. It's stereo, baby.
Yeah. Like,
yeah, I forgot about that.
There's some weird, like, probably not like product placement per se, but it's like Dolby is kind of like brought up and is like I don't know that, and then like I would love to know about like if Coke had any idea, like Coca-Cola, that like their cans were going to be used for just full of like cocaine. The people were just like storing straws with it, and it's super weird.
Maybe they're trying to do like we're trying to do with Shutter on here.
Yeah, Shutter.
Throw it out there, try and get funding.
Except it's like maybe the representative from Coke will see the movie and then give us money after the fact.
Yeah.
Oh, I just remembered this. Speaking of favorite lines, there's another really funny line in the movie within the movie. I can't remember what it's called, but it's happening while the prostitutes are like turning into demons, and it's like somebody puts the demon mask that they find up to their face, and this woman, one of the girlfriend characters, is like, don't put that on your face, you'll turn into a demon. and the person putting it on their face is like, how do you know that? And she's like, it says in this book that if you put the mask on your face, you'll turn into a demon.
Yeah. It's the two dudes in the movie, like some like I would imagine if that is the real Nostradamus' tomb, there is zero chance it's written in English. Like, nobody would be able to read anything in that book. So, chaos is just kind of like running rampant throughout this movie theater. People are running around trying to escape these demons. And I think, like, the next note I had is the lady that goes to like hide in that room and gets scalped.
Oh yeah, that was a good one. That was a good death.
It like is brutal. That was just like my note, was that it's like it's just brutal. It looks terrible. Like it's like I'm assuming more blood than would probably be realistic, but it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, the deaths in this movie are pretty sweet. There aren't too many that are just lackluster.
Yeah, until you start getting like all of that like chaos at the end, where it's just like quick cuts of people like like demons getting like slashed or whatever. It's like
a
lot of kind of like, I think there's one that happens towards the end where some lady gets her face crushed by like the folding chair.
Yeah, I remember that.
Like, you don't actually see anything really, but it just like seeing like that quick like chair go down over her face is just enough.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and being like, that's pretty creative.
Yeah. And then it's like you also realize that like most of this movie theater is just made out of folding chairs. Like, there's like a lot of shots you'll see in like the background where it's not even like, there's a lot of like, those like kind of typical like auditorium folding chairs, but then you see a lot of like just pick up and walk away folding chairs. I think this is when Tony steps up and starts trying to like, is just screaming constantly at everybody.
Oh,
is that when he's ordering everyone around?
Yeah, and he's just telling everybody to shut up a lot. But like, my note was that like how much I desperately want to hear like the non 80-yard version of this movie. And so like basically, Tony or somebody else puts together that like what's happening in the movie is happening to them, and it was because like the one girl put the mask on and it cut her face. That happened in the movie, so now they're all turning into demons. And they come up with the idea of, well, we could stop all this by just shutting the movie off. So they all run upstairs, at least probably 9 flights of stairs that go nowhere, I'm assuming, and go into the projection booth, but they break down a door, and they all get behind a wall, and then there's an 80-yard line of Tony yelling, "Come on, guys, there's another door." And that made me laugh. Like, there's no need for that line whatsoever. So they get into the projection booth, and somebody, I forgot to write down who, just yells, "Smash everything," over and over again as they're just like trying to like smash up these projectors.
I assume it's probably the pimp that yelled that.
It was either him or George, I think. I don't know, it was one of those two. But then you get this weird just smash cut straight to these like punk junkies that hadn't shown up at all before, just like fucking out of nowhere. And it's like a real weird, almost like B story that is absolutely not needed, but you get introduced to these like pretty awesomely bad punk cokeheads that are snorting coke out of Coca-Cola cans, and it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, the first, I would say, at least 5 minutes of their screen time, probably more, is just them either snorting cocaine or cleaning cocaine up.
Yeah, and like, let's cover them before they get to the movie theater, because there's like a bunch of like cutting back and forth of just them driving and then back to stuff at the movie theater. So basically you get introduced to these coked out punk kids, and I think the only name I remember was Nina, who spills a bunch of coke, which, number one, none of these people seem like they should be friends. They are all absolutely terrible together. But somebody, oh no, it's like the three of them are fighting over this can of like cocaine spilled everywhere, and the guy driving demands they clean it up and not waste any of it, which cuts to a scene of them using a switchblade and a razor blade to basically clean cocaine into envelopes out of like the cushions of their car seats, which seems very unsanitary.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I would do that cocaine.
But you also get a super weird, like, minute of Nina getting cocaine, like, razored off her breast by the dude sitting next to her who says, "Oh, there's snow in this valley."
Oh yeah, that was erotic.
Yeah, that's a fucking line.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I don't even what? Oh, that's it. So after, like, right when they spill all the cocaine, like the dude in the front seat, who I think's name is Ripper, because I wrote down that Nina just yells, "Not my fault, Ripper." But like, it's just like the whole everything leading up to them getting to the movie theater is just like super weird and like doesn't fit anything else that's been happening in this movie.
Yeah, it's totally pointless. I mean, like you said, their entire existence in the movie, it doesn't serve any purpose, but I guess they were like, oh, this movie's only going to be like 60 minutes long.
Yeah, that's what I assumed, because it's only like an hour and 28 minutes, and like, there's a good probably 10 to 15 minutes at least of just them getting to the movie theater. So I'm assuming that was probably all just added to get the runtime up a little bit. But you also get a sweet line when they get to the movie theater, when the cops are kind of chasing at them. And, like, the one, like, I think Ripper runs out of the car, pushes a cop, and just yells, "All pigs suck," and goes, like, running off.
Such a bold move. Like, they weren't worried about those cops at all.
Well, those cops also didn't really seem very good at their jobs, so.
Yeah.
Clearly not.
Ripper's Antifa.
Yeah. Ripper's the best character of this movie now. And so, like, they end up getting into this movie theater and are running around as everybody else that's actually been in this movie theater being attacked, or like have barricaded themselves up in the balcony. And as they're running around, Nina goes into the room the lady was scalped in, starts, for some reason, putting on lipstick, which seems like the worst time to be doing this.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't get it at all. But you also get the like this movie's got a bunch of really terrible but awesome lines. She's in this room and the rest of the three dudes are running around trying to figure out what's going on, and somebody yells, "Where's Nina?" And one of the other dudes responds, "Probably in the can." And so they're kind of running around, making noise. the people in the balcony that have barricaded themselves by like tearing up all of the seats and blocking the doors with them hear them like kind of make a noise or whatever, think they are being saved, and immediately start tearing down the barricade. And you see a bunch of people doing this that I had not seen at all in this movie before. Like, you see a bunch of people in this scene, and then when, like, to, like, the climax of the movie, there's just, like, a bunch of demons that is just, like, more people that have been in this movie theater at all.
Yeah, I know.
It
seems like...
Go ahead, Kit.
Saying just late arrivals to the movie.
Oh, yeah.
They showed up after it started.
I think this is when the woman gets her head squashed by the folding chair, was when, like, after they removed all the barricades, they all start getting attacked again.
Oh, also another thing I don't know exactly when it happens, but it's during the chaotic running around sequences. One of the demons, like, rips that blind guy's eyes out, but the blind guy is fine. Like, it doesn't really... He's still walking around, where's my daughter?
That is at... I think that's when they first start getting attacked. Because I think that had already happened to him when, like, Tony decides to throw his daughter, like, over the balcony. But,
yeah.
Yeah, it's like he gets his, like, eyes just, like, he gets, like thumbs to the eyes and gets, like, his eyes poked out. And it's just for, like walking around the rest of the time he's there with just his eyes poked out, and doesn't seem to be bothering him whatsoever.
Yeah, he's fine. He's just like, I'm already blind. Who cares?
Yeah, there's like something that bunch of kind of like nonsense going on, because I think my next note is whenever like Cheryl's friend like starts turning and has that like weird demon pop out of her back.
Oh yeah, that didn't make any sense.
There's just like a bunch of like nonsense of them trying to break out, and they go into another, like they break into this room that is just also like a dead end for like no reason. But you get like a weird shot of like the camera just like going the perimeter of the room along the walls.
Oh, when they find that it's like catacombs or something.
Yeah, it's like a weird brick room or something.
And then one of the characters just starts screaming.
Yeah, all of the ladies in that room do, because it's like the lady that was taking the tickets is in there, who like has like it's weird because there's this lady that's like taking the tickets at the beginning that they make it seem like she's like somehow part of this. Like she seems just kind of
she seems sinister.
Yeah, and she's like walking around and she like during the movie and shit, and then it's just like for whatever reason she's not, and it's just like gets killed.
Yeah, I didn't understand that either. I know, and at that point I was kind of just like, wait, so what's going on with this movie then if nobody's the bad guy?
Yeah, like there's this movie's got no plot, and it's just people getting attacked, so there's a bunch of shit that just kind of happens that makes no real sense, but it's also like awesome at the same time. Because it's like, I think at this point, like, basically, Cheryl's friend, like, I don't know, this weird demon just, like, she gives birth out of her fucking back to this demon who just, like, runs off. And then, like, you start getting into the climax, because, like, Ken gets, like, bit or slashed or something, and just has this weird, like, 10-minute freak out, where he's like begging George to kill him with this like katana blade.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame him. If I was going to turn into a demon and had to kill myself, and I had a sweet katana, I would want to be killed with it.
Like, fuck that, I'd just be a demon and go out and just kill people.
Yeah, I mean, that's true too.
But like,
that's also a good point.
So like, getting past like Ken and his kind of emotional bullshit of like dying in this, because it's pretty terrible. You get to, like, the fucking most ludicrous, like, nonsense of ending. Like, the climax of this movie is insane.
Yeah, it's the best.
It's incredible.
It's probably my favorite scene in any movie.
It's so awesome. Like
someone wrote this, and they just built the rest of the movie around it.
Oh, yeah. Like,
yeah.
Somebody had the idea of somebody driving a dirt bike with a like sword through a movie theater and was like, yeah, we're good. Fuck it.
Yeah,
Everybody else
got
can
it.
just like improvise their lines.
Yeah.
We're done.
The rest of the movie's gonna write itself.
Control S, we're good. And like, it fucking makes zero sense logically, because this dude is like driving over seats,
Like riding on top
Like-
of the seats.
Yeah, the physics are all messed up.
It is so awesome though.
I don't even remember, because at that point it was just George and Cheryl, right? Everybody else was dead, and then he like leaves her in the theater when there's all these demons closing in on him, and he just like rides back in on that dirt bike with the katana.
Yeah, it's weird because he goes from just like this weird preppy dude to like all of a sudden in the last 20 minutes he's like Rambo.
Yeah,
There's, like,
he's
Battle
like
hard now.
it's like Mad Max.
Like you see all these shots, like at one point, like after the helicopter comes through the ceiling, spoiler, there's a helicopter that falls through the ceiling in this movie.
Yeah,
Like there's a scene where he's like standing on top of it when he's like getting this fucking grappling hook gun, which all helicopters have, everybody.
yeah. Good
Like-
thing they had the grappling hook gun.
He's like standing up and he's got like that like typical like one leg up, like propped up
Oh,
on
yeah.
something. His shirt's all ripped. He's got all these muscles now that like you don't see before. It's
Yeah,
real
he's
weird.
doing a hero pose.
Yeah. And it's I even if you don't want to watch the rest of this movie, which I don't know why you wouldn't, but like the last like 20 minutes are just like ridiculous, over the top, nonsensical action, and it's awesome.
Yeah, if you, I mean, you can go on YouTube and look up the dirt bike scene. It's been isolated from the rest of the movie, but it is funny because it's that you can tell that the demons are kind of there's the stunt people are maybe marginally talented circus folk or something, because he's driving down the aisle swiping at him with the katana, and they just like jump in the air and kind of like arch over him for no apparent reason.
There's also like one of the like goofs in this movie I read was that like anytime you see Nina after she's supposed to have become a demon, she's got like no demon makeup on. So there's like a couple shots which like I kind of noticed that like I just assumed maybe she just had that like when you see Ken starts his transformation or whatever, he's got like that weird like black like vein lines coming up his face. So it's like maybe they just did something like basic on her, but apparently they just like didn't put any of the makeup on her.
They got to that point, and the script supervisor was like, "What about continuity?" And the director is like, just started laughing.
Well, like also this movie apparently like the budget was only like $1,800,000, which like sounds
All for that helicopter.
Well, yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
figure it's like there's a shit ton of people in this movie. Those effects, especially probably then, probably weren't cheap, and like that you got the helicopter.
Yeah, that was a pretty big set piece, honestly.
Because it's like it is a full size helicopter. Like
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense, and it's kind of weird that a helicopter would be able to crash through the cement roof of a building like that.
and also create a hole that is not as big as the helicopter.
Yeah.
But basically, like the entire ending of this movie is just George zipping around on this fucking dirt bike until this helicopter crashes through the ceiling. Him and Cheryl fight their way out and use this grappling hook gun attached to the helicopter to get to the roof, where the metal mask guy returns.
Yeah, that part was funny too, because I guess he was just hanging out on the roof of the movie theater the entire time.
Like, you could, like, make an argument that this dude had, like, all of this shit somehow, like, plotted out perfectly, but I'm just assuming he was just like, I need to go smoke a cigarette, I'm gonna go up to the roof.
Yeah, he's like, there's a lot of this will work itself out. There's a lot of demons down there. I'm just gonna go have a smoke break.
Yeah, and you also realize that, like, once they get to the roof and they kill this metal mask dude by jamming his face into two, like, exposed pipes, that the entire like world has been taken over.
At least
just the city.
Yeah, it's because I think we skipped over that, but there is a point when I think the punks go in. Maybe it's the blind guy. One of the demons gets out, and it's only 30 seconds, and it just runs off.
You just broke my brain because I know that scene, and I remember like being like, "Why is like this? This seems like it just abruptly just happens." And, like, I never put two and two together that, like, oh, yeah, this guy's, like, out in the world and probably just, like, turned both these cops into him, and now they're probably just spreading.
Yeah, because the first time I saw it, I don't think I remembered that. And at the end, I was like, why in the hell is it a post-apocalyptic wasteland now? And then on subsequent viewings, I noticed that, the blind guy or whoever it was escaped and turned everybody into demons.
It's also, like, this movie has to take place within, like, maybe 6 hours.
Oh, yeah, tops.
And, like, it's, like basically just looks like the end of Bait 3D, where just, like, everything is just decimated. And, like, there's just fucking everything's on fire. There's just, like, skeletons in the road.
Yeah, well, and then George and Cheryl get rescued by the Doomsday Prepper family.
Yeah, and like so they get like picked up by this family that are just driving around shooting demons for fun, I guess. Heading west to get to the countryside. And it's just like a bunch of these like long shots of George and Cheryl standing up in the back of this Jeep. And then Cheryl turns into a demon and just like gets shot and is just dead, and then the movie ends. Like,
yeah, and it's funny.
You spend the entire movie being like supposed to be like rooting for Cheryl, and it's just like, oh, she died during the credits.
Yeah, and it does, and that's the thing. The credits are literally rolling over the screen when that happens.
You basically get like a bunch of shots of them while the actors' names and stuff go across the screen, and then about this 20-second scene of her transformation and then like getting killed, and then it goes into the rest of the credits of just like as this Jeep is driving away.
Yeah, there's no point where it's established that Cheryl gets bitten or scratched or anything, because the whole thing is with the demons, if they bite you or claw you or whatever, then they infect you and you turn into a demon. But when George is on the dirt bike, you clearly see him get slashed by a demon.
And like that's like as like after it happens, the first time like when I watched it on like the last drive-in, I was like, wait, why didn't George change? Because like he blatantly got attacked. Like,
yeah.
The least they could have done was shown, like, when she's getting, like, on top of the helicopter and gets grabbed, at least, like, have her have gotten, like, scratched or whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And they established that Cheryl was the main character from the beginning, too. I mean, that's who you see when the movie opens.
Yeah, it's crazy. This movie rules.
Yeah, I feel like probably the cocaine scenes, that was probably actual cocaine from the production staff, and everybody was just blasted out of their mind.
Like I would love to just have been like in the room hearing how this movie like came together. Like this is one of those movies that deserves like a 2-hour documentary made about it.
Or some sort of oral history.
Yeah. I think that's all I really had. I had the 2 taglines, which one of them is just a quote from the movie. They will make cemeteries their cathedrals, and the cities will be your tombs, which is the most metal line.
I was going to say, that's actually pretty badass.
Yeah. And then I'm guessing this was probably what's on most of like the DVDs or posters, which is their evil becomes the orgy of bloodshed.
That's also pretty too.
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
There's no way that they will make cemeteries their cathedrals and the cities will be their tombs. There's probably at least 300 black metal bands that have used that as a song title.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, you guys got anything else you wanted to add about this movie?
I would just recommend that if people have Shudder and they're gonna watch Demons, they should also watch Demons 2, which is at least as good. And I think after rewatching them back to back, I honestly think Demons 2 is better.
I have not seen
Agreed.
Demons 2, and I once I realized that was on Shudder when I looked up Demons to watch it again today. I was like, oh, I'm watching this shit when we're done recording. Because I have
Demons 2 is awesome.
I have no idea what the plot about it is. Like, I literally just saw that it was on there today, so I'm pretty stoked to actually watch it.
Yeah, the plot of the second Demons posits that the first movie is actually a movie. And then it takes place in this apartment building, and it's kind of the same setup where all these people in the different apartments in this apartment building are watching this movie that's basically a continuation of the first movie.
Wait, you said that this was released as The Church before?
No, there's a third one called The Church.
I think I might have seen The Church. Yeah,
The Church isn't very good. The guy that played the mask guy, that Michel Suavi dude, directed The Church. I don't remember. I had it on DVD. Anchor Bay released it in the early 2000s, and I had it on DVD and watched it one time, and it was pretty much just like, well, don't need to ever watch this movie again. But Demons 2 is legitimately pretty sweet. There's a little kid turns into a demon, and then a winged demon busts out of him for no reason, and the main character impales it with a broom, or not a broom, but an umbrella.
Hell yeah, I'm watching that.
Yeah,
shit
it's pretty
as soon as
sweet.
we're done.
Yeah, the pimp is in it as a bodybuilder, and there's a scene when all these oiled up bodybuilders are fighting off demons with dumbbells and stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's definitely worth watching.
So, we all went and saw Halloween. And so, if you guys wanted to talk about that for a little bit, because I've been waiting to talk to anybody about this movie.
I mean, I liked it.
Yeah, so, well, first off, if anybody who hasn't seen it,
spoilers.
There's going to be spoilers, because I'm going to talk about some shit.
Because I got some gripes.
So, I would say, don't listen to this at this point for about the next 10, 15 minutes or whatever, because there will be spoilers. As opposed to all of the spoilers we just gave for Demons. Yeah, I legitimately loved it. I was pretty into it. I think, the stuff with the doctor was kind of dumb. I could have dealt without that.
Yeah, that was pointless.
He should have just died in the bus crash.
Yeah, you could have easily excised him entirely, and the movie would have been no different.
Yeah.
Other than I wouldn't have said what the fuck.
Yeah. The twist with him where I don't know, he wants to kill people too. It doesn't make any sense and doesn't go anywhere.
I don't even think he wanted to kill people per se, as much as he just looked at it as more time and hands-on experience of studying Michael Myers, which
so this is what it feels like to commit the murder.
Yeah, it was ludicrous. I thought Jamie Lee Curtis was amazing. Her first scene in the movie when she's talking to those two podcasters or whatever, and she's talking about losing her family because I don't know, she was super good in this. Even Judy Greer, and then fucking the guy that played Artie and Pete that Shane informed me also does Cotton Hill on King of the Hill.
Oh yeah, Toby Huss.
Yeah. I was so stoked when I saw him in the movie.
I was by the time he got killed, I was thank God though, because he was extremely annoying.
I just like that dude. His character is not good. And it's to be pretty much other than Laurie Strode and then her daughter and her granddaughter. Like, nobody else in this movie really has any bearing on anything.
Yeah, that's what I didn't like, because there's a good... If you took out all the dumb subplots, the boyfriend cheating and everything, I thought that they should have focused on Laurie more, because they established that, she's this damaged, traumatized loner and everything, but you don't really see her in her day-to-day life or anything. I don't know. They spent too much time with the daughter. I don't give a shit about the daughter or the granddaughter or whatever.
I think I would have loved it even more if it had more of like that focus on like hardened, broken, like Laurie Strode. But I guarantee you they were thinking like sequels and like having, this like the granddaughter and whatnot in it, and like having, like the young person, which you could have still had her without the boyfriend subplot that has just made zero impact on anything. But like, I don't know. I think it would have been interesting to see that version of just them, like basically just Michael versus Laurie again. But you also get like that pretty fucking awesome scene with like the little kid and like his babysitter.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That little kid was fucking awesome.
Yeah, he was.
He stole the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I haven't looked into it, but I feel like probably a lot of horror movie grumps didn't like that part because it's not funny. It sticks out. The humor shouldn't be there. But yeah, that kid was hilarious.
Yeah, and like it also like it had like that humor to it, but it was also like extremely tense because Michael Myers is in that house.
Yeah.
So like you're pretty much just the entire time sitting there for like this good like 10-15 minute scene just waiting for him to like pop out. And it even hit a point where I was like, where she's like looking around the room, like, trying to show the kid that like the boogeyman's not there or whatever. Like I was like, oh, he's actually not going to be in this room. But then I was like, oh, well, there he is.
Yeah.
I thought like a lot of I think they did a pretty good job of kind of taking the feel of like the John Carpenter one and adding kind of like the violence of the Rob Zombie ones. Because you get like, I don't know, there's like a lot of stuff that kind of happens, I guess, kind of off screen. But you get like a lot of stuff where like Michael gets his like hand fucking shot.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. He gets his fingers blown off.
Yeah, and then like fucking Loomis 2.0 gets his fucking head squashed.
Oh, that was awesome. I love that. Yeah, that was great.
I feel like that had to have been like a direct reference to, I think, the second Rob Zombie one where he just like stomps that dude's head.
Maybe. I don't remember. I don't remember the Rob Zombie ones because they made me so angry that I just I just blacked them out or something. I saw the second one in the theater and was the entire movie. The only thing I could think of was just how bad I hated it. So
there's like a scene where like when Michael's just kind of like out on the run or whatever, that he like just comes across like some dude in like a parking lot and he just like stomps the shit out of his head and it just like explodes everywhere.
Maybe I'll go back and watch that.
I think as my favorite scene, and has been like my favorite scene since that first trailer aired, which was like the entire shit in that like truck stop restroom when he just like reaches over with like the teeth and just drops them. Like I love like the imagery in that alone is pretty awesome.
Yeah, I liked that part, but the whole podcaster subplot I did not like. It was
they were pretty dumb.
Yeah. Does this really need to be here? But I don't know.
Like I guess like I kind of see what they were going for and being like, modernizing it. Like of course they would be two podcasters.
Yeah,
but like I don't know, like the one dude podcaster getting his like head just smashed against the wall a bunch and then into like the the door of the bathroom stall was pretty awesome. And like,
yeah, that was funny.
Legitimately brutal. I think like the girl podcaster's death was kind of lame, but I don't know. That scene with like the teeth is like forever. That, and then like the scene when he gets like walks, he like those two kids and like the Halloween 3 masks run into him, and then he just kind of like,
forgot about that.
He just like slowly turns and like walks down that driveway and gets the hammer. Like I still love like all that shit was still my favorite part.
Yeah, the end when Laurie is clearing the rooms in her house and putting the gates down. I thought that entire sequence was super tense.
Yeah, and like especially when she gets into that room with like those weird mannequins that she uses for like target practice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That like everything in like the end, once they get to like Laurie's like house or whatever, is super good. Like there's kind of like a bunch of dumb stuff that happens leading up to it where it's kind of like just typical like slasher nonsense.
Yeah.
But like everything from the point where I'd say from the point where like the doctor kind of reveals that he's like, you know, his little weird stupid turn, everything after that is like legitimately great.
Yeah, it's a lot like a gritty reboot of Age 20.
Yeah. Like, except it doesn't have Josh Hartnett. And the blonde from Dawson's Creek also. Oh, Michelle Williams.
Yeah.
It's crazy that she was in that movie, especially like with how the stuff she does anymore. Because she's like a real actress now.
Yeah, I haven't seen Age 20 for a long time, but I remember liking it, and I feel like I liked it more than this Halloween, but also I was 20 or something when that came out.
A bunch of people seem to have like a soft spot for H2O or fucking whatever. Like I watched it maybe a month ago, and I think like the idea behind it holds up, but it is insanely dated.
Yeah, well, part of it too, I think, is you come into it. That was the first Halloween movie since 6, which was just borders on yeah. It was like unwatchable. I mean, 4, 5, and 6 are horrible, and I think in general there wasn't really any good horror movies in the most of the 90s. Scream came out, and that was good, and then they made bad sequels, and then there was I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Are you just going to ignore Dracula 2000?
But I thought Dracula 2000, didn't that come out in 2000 or something?
I assumed it came out like 98 or some shit. No,
I've seen it. I don't.
It had to have come out before 2000 because I saw it before I graduated in the theater, I believe.
Yeah,
it was tail end of 2000.
Oh,
it was
that's depressing.
September 22nd, 2000.
I guess technically I'm still right because I graduated 2001, but it seemed like I saw that in like junior high. That's depressing. Why did I go see that?
Well, there was also the John Carpenter Vampires movie, which I thought was pretty good.
That movie is actually really good, except fuck James Woods.
Oh yeah, James Woods, the conservative maniac.
Yeah, Vampires rules because if only for the fact that it introduced the idea of vampires digging themselves into the ground to hide from the sun.
Yeah,
which is pretty fucking genius. Yeah, I don't know. I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. It was kind of I saw it in a theater with like loud, people that like talk to the screen, which was weird.
Yeah, I haven't seen that. When we saw it, we saw it at 1:30 in the afternoon on a Saturday, and I figured it would be more crowded because it was opening weekend, but there weren't that many people there, and for the most part everybody was pretty quiet. But
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say sometimes it's funny when people yell at the screen and stuff. I don't know. I think that's funny sometimes.
It was like borderline in between being kind of like endearing and like annoying, because it was like a mom who brought her two like very, very inappropriately underage kids to this movie. And like the one kid, like I would say they're, maybe like 9 and 11. And like the one kid, every time he got like a text or any sort of notification on his phone, his camera light flashed. And so I was just like, Jesus Christ. And of course they were sat like 3 seats from me.
Yeah, that's like, really annoying.
Yeah, it was driving me crazy. But the mom was doing that thing where she was like hunched over in her seat, like at the screen, like her hands over her mouth, just being like, "Don't go in. Just no, don't. Why run? Why aren't you running?" Like shit like that. Which I think if like her kids wouldn't have been there, it wouldn't have bothered me as much. But I just wanted to smash that kid's phone.
Yeah, I could see that.
What'd you think, Kit? I know you liked it. We talked about it for like a minute on text.
Yeah, it was good. I didn't think it was, mind blowing or anything. I guess solid slasher film. My problems were everything we've gone over. The dumb little subplots with the German doctor, and then the creepy opportunistic friend of the granddaughter. Trying to make his move in the backyard.
Does he get like impaled?
He gets hanged on that that fence post, right?
Yeah, like I think
the top of the
he
gate.
Gets like stabbed, but I couldn't tell what was happening. Like I was also
I think he
probably being blinded by that kid's flash on his phone at the time. But, like I couldn't tell if he had got like impaled somehow.
I think it was both. Like I think Michael stabbed him as he was climbing up, and then whenever she heard his like cries and gargling or whatever, she turns back and Michael had impaled his head on the top of the fence.
Oh, that rules. I need to
So I mean, I guess that one's worth it just for that. That was pretty tight.
Yeah, it's always good seeing like unlikable people in movies get killed off
violently.
I think like the one scene, like I saw a lot of people kind of griping about like that opening scene, like at the hospital.
I thought that was well done. I thought that was a cool opening to it.
Yeah, I did too. Like I could have probably dealt without like the weird shit of like everybody losing their minds. But like I really liked the like hard cut of him like yelling, holding the mask into like that Halloween like credits.
Yeah.
I thought that was like really well done and kind of like set a pretty good tone. And then like the credits, obviously, like the music in it is phenomenal. Like,
the soundtrack is probably my favorite part.
Yeah,
honestly,
the soundtrack is so good.
Yeah, I know. I think the soundtrack is actually better than the movie.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, there's a good. I love all of John Carpenter's movies. It's like the only one I think I said I haven't seen yet is Ghost of Mars. I don't think I've seen The Ward either, but The Ward just looks bad.
That doesn't. The Ward doesn't.
Yeah. The Ghost on Mars eats shit. It's so stupid.
As a kid, and I talked about it in one episode, so like, if I could find it used, I'm just gonna buy it because like fuck it, it's a John Carpenter movie. But
you got to see it for Desolation Williams and Big Daddy Mars,
and like the soundtrack to it is insane.
Yeah, it's all, isn't it? I think it's all new metal.
Well, I think John Carpenter like does the score, but then I think there's like guest guitarists and shit throughout the entire thing.
He had moved on to using guitar like super heavily in all of his soundtracks by that point. So it's all just really weird, kind of new metal-y guitar throughout.
I would say like, because I mean like, like Big Trouble in Little China and The Fog and They Live, or like all that shit is like the best. But I also still think I think I genuinely enjoy his scores to his movies more than like the movies. Like his scores are always like amazing.
Yeah, I'm trying to. Well, the score for In the Mouth of Madness is really good too. Yes. That was the first kind of straight up heavy metal.
Yeah.
That Enter Sandman ripoff of the movie starts.
It is 100% Enter Sandman.
Oh, I think. Have you guys seen Memoirs of Invisible Man?
I have, but it's been
forever ago when I was 10.
Time.
It's heinous. It's worse than Ghost on Mars. It sucks so bad.
I wish somebody would just release like one collection of like all of his movies on Blu-ray, so I could just buy that.
Yeah, just get them all.
Yeah, instead of having to like track them all down for like $30 a piece or whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much all I have for either movie. Unless you guys have anything else.
I got a brief news thing that is.
Yeah, I haven't got a chance to look at any news this week, so let's go.
While we're talking about John Carpenter, he just released a new theme for Shudder. I guess he wrote a theme for Shudder that they're going to be using starting on Halloween.
Oh shit!
Yeah, I'm not sure in what context, and I haven't had a chance to listen to it.
I love this idea that like him and Shudder are just like teaming up on something.
Everything, I hope.
Yeah, just
all of the things.
Even if it's just like one movie, it's still like one more movie. Like
if it's just a looping channel of John Carpenter just like saying "fuck you,"
it should just
give me my money.
It's just like Shudder TV is replaced by just interviews of John Carpenter.
I'll watch the shit out of that.
Why aren't you making
fantastic.
movies anymore? Well, I'm playing video games. Fuck off.
Yeah, it's just John Carpenter being a surly old guy and just saying shit like I don't give a shit how bad the remakes are as long as I get paid.
Just fucking pay me, all right?
Just a constant loop of him putting his hair in a ponytail. That's like I want to hear that theme now. That's kind of awesome. Shudder's fucking doing it right. Even like they still need to be sponsoring us because I don't know why they're not. But
mention them every week.
Shudder. Even just like the goofy shit of where they've had like the Ghoul log going on for Halloween.
Yeah.
I laughed for a solid 10 minutes at the fucking Gulag when I first saw it.
I was like, that's real stupid. And then I swear I probably spent like at least 20 minutes just staring at it.
You guys should put together a PowerPoint presentation and take it to them. Here's why you should sponsor us.
Like, I had an idea, like when I first was like, I kind of want to do this podcast with Kit, where I was like, maybe we should just do like only movies that are on Shudder. And then like I realized that there was like 2 or 3 other podcasts that were already doing that. So I was like, well, I guess we'd like not do that. Let's just talk about garbage.
Yeah, so it'll be Shudder and Prime Video.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's probably about it. Shayne, as I mentioned at the beginning, has a podcast called Full Metal Hipster, which if you listen to pretty much any kind of metal, you should listen to. He puts, it's like everything from just like straight up death metal and doom and black metal to like power metal and like even stuff like King Woman and like more of the melodic shit like that. It's really good.
Thanks for saying that, even though I know you don't listen to it, Nathan.
Hell, you don't know what I do. I am about 20 episodes behind just because I've been like binging How Did This Get Made, but I was caught up.
That's okay. I understand. I've been putting them out basically bi-weekly for most of 2018 anyway. I just haven't had the time to do an episode a week recently. So you're not that far behind.
I mean, for the most part, I listen to it like the same way I listen to like Kit's other podcast, The Appendix, where I just listen to them mispronounce band names and then I just like skip through the song. Like I really want like The Appendix. I just want like a 15-minute cut of just Kit and Pat mispronouncing every band name imaginable.
I think we're just gonna lean hella into that and just have an Icelandic band every week.
Yeah, you guys should probably just do a crossover at some point now. Just do like a Full Metal Hipster Appendix crossover and just have like nothing but bands that like are impossible to pronounce.
Horribly mispronouncing, like, this is Nurgle Flurger Blurger.
Like, just only pick bands that like none of you have ever said out loud before. But yeah, so you should find where like what like I know you have like Facebook and all that shit for Full Metal Hipster.
Yeah, there's a Facebook page. They can follow me on Twitter. My handle is Metal Shayne 2000, METALSHAYNE 2000. Yeah, I mean, Full Metal Hipster it's not on Spotify because Spotify has this thing where it's against terms of service to have podcasts with music on it, even if you have permission to use it. It's stupid. So it's not on Spotify. It's on iTunes. It's on Stitcher. It's on Google Play Music. Pretty much any podcast streaming app that you can find, it's on. So there's also a website. You can go to fullmetalhipster.com. All the episodes all 155 episodes are archived there, and I forget, like 320 kbps quality. I don't know.
Yeah, listen to all of them except for the one I was on like episode 9, where I say a lot.
You should definitely listen to that one first.
Oh God, I know. I say you listen to the one where you like try and tackle the shit with fucking Metalgate.
Oh yeah, that was. Dude, I hate that episode. That guy's an idiot.
Yeah, I listened to that like at work one night. Like I think when it first like dropped it, I was like, oh God, this just made me feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know. The funniest part was when he was like, I've been a victim of racism because one time at the mall, all these black teenagers pushed me and stole my laser pointer.
Oh, that's amazing. So yeah, check out.
Yeah, that guy was an idiot. He didn't listen.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Check out Full Metal Hipster, especially if like you're into metal. Like I said, like it covers everything. Like you will find at least something. I'd say every 2 episodes. Even if you're just like, you know, the grumpiest of metal dudes, you'd probably find something to like on there. And then I try and do interviews too, so there's a lot of artist interviews. I think it's pretty much set up as like you have like playlist episodes and then interview episodes. And then like Kit's still doing the appendix for Toilet of Hell, which is pretty fun if you haven't listened to that yet. And then
we just talk a lot of shit. That's all it is.
Yeah, it's
we just shit talk everyone and then play a song.
Again, pretty much just like a lot of like them mispronouncing band names from like Finland and shit, and then playing a song and then coming back and being like, "Oh, that was the last song," and we didn't realize it. So here's like 5 more minutes of us just talking instead of ending the episode.
We've gotten real bad about that. Apparently, for this week's Pat, whenever he put in I'm gonna butcher his fucking band's name right now on this podcast, Svartadati or Svartaduethi or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, it's like you have to say it with an inflection. It's like Svarty Dowdy. That's like how you're supposed to say it.
Svarty Dowdy.
The least metal way to say anything.
We put in the track, and you can hear us just like talking and laughing in the background while the track's playing. Like, oh, oops.
Like every time a song, like the song will get done, and I'll be like, "Oh, there's like 5 minutes left," and they'll be like, you'll cut back, and Pat will just be like, "Well, I thought we had one more song. Apparently, that was actually it." I just start laughing like every time. It's pretty genius.
It's just us talking about fucking cheeseburgers and shit.
It should just be like the running gag for the entire podcast.
Well, we did it again, guys.
But yeah, listen to both of those. You can follow or listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and Stitcher. Leave us reviews. Tell Shudder to give us money for sponsorships. We have 2 more episodes after this one. I promised Kit we would be millionaires by episode 10. So
we're getting there. I feel it.
You can follow us on Facebook at I Hope You Suffer Pod, on Twitter at I Hope You Suffer. We are, I believe, still going to try and do House of the Dead for the next episode.
It's going to be a good one. That movie is The movie's heinous.
I've never seen it. I cannot wait.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
I just want to talk about Yui Bowl forever. And I fucking can't wait to get to that. I think the only way you could really watch that other than just already owning it is you just have to get like downloaded on Amazon or iTunes or whatever, but I would assume it's probably like $2.99. I don't think it's actually streaming for free on anything.
I mean, you could just steal it. You could just torrent it.
Yeah, you could always do that too.
I mean, most of Yui Boll's movies are financed by the Germany, so who cares?
It's gonna be such a fun episode because that movie aside, just talking about Yui Boll alone and like his just like outside of work life is fascinating.
He's gonna want to box this afterwards.
Oh, I hope so. I'll send you to box him for us. You're in much better shape than I am. Yeah, that's it. You guys got anything else?
I don't.
Yeah, I don't.
All right. I hope you suffer, but why?
Why?
I hope you suffer, why?
Oh, God.